So, picture this. It's the roaring 20s. In the middle of all the jazz and the excitement, this mysterious little red book shows up. It's super small, totally anonymous, and it makes this just staggering promise. A simple plan to get literally anything you want. So yeah, let's dive into this nearly 100-year-old guide and see what it's all about.
That right there is the book's huge, bold promise. The author, who decided to stay anonymous, was apparently this incredibly successful guy who said this one simple truth was the secret to his wealth, his friends, his happiness, everything. And he was convinced it wasn't some kind of magic, but a law, just as real as gravity.
So why the secret author? Well, he wanted all the focus to be on the message itself, not on him. And the title? It Works? The story goes that he sent his manuscript to a friend to get some feedback. The friend just sent it back with those two words written on it. It works. That's it. And that became the title.
Okay, so if this is all true, why isn't everybody getting exactly what they want all the time? The book tackles this head-on. Why do some people seem to have it all figured out, while for other people, their dreams just kind of fade away? Well, the author thinks it's because most of us don't really want things, we just kind of wish for them.
The book gives us a few examples to chew on. So first there's Jimmy, the office boy. He sees this awesome new red car zoom past and he's like, gee, I wish that were mine. But according to the author, that's just a fleeting thought, right? It's an outburst, not a real goal.
And then you've got Florence. She's a telephone operator, and she's staring at this gorgeous ring in a jewelry store window. It's the same thing, just a passing desire. There's no real plan or even a thought of actually owning it.
And for the last example, we have Mr. Jones, the bookkeeper. This one's a biggie. He's out for a walk with his wife, sees a beautiful home, and says how nice it would be to have a house like that. But then, in the very next breath, he kills the whole idea. He tells his wife, it's out of the question. He just totally cancels his own wish before it even gets off the ground.
So here's the big takeaway from all that. According to the book, these aren't real deep-down desires. They're just vocal expressions. They're half-hearted wishes that don't plug into the engine that actually makes things happen. It's like flipping a light switch that isn't connected to any electricity.
So what is this engine, this power source? The book says there's a mighty power inside every single one of us, and it's just anxious and willing to serve. The author points out that people call it all sorts of things, like the subjective mind. But he likes to call it Emmanuel, which means God in us. Honestly, he says the name doesn't really matter. What matters is knowing that this all-powerful force is there.
And I love this analogy he uses. He compares this power to radio waves. Think about it. They're all around us right now, but you're not going to hear any music unless you have a radio and you tune it to the right station. He says it's the exact same with your mind. You have to tune into this power with total clarity to get a perfect result.
Okay, so how do we actually tune in? This is where we get to the real heart of the book, the concise, definite plan. He lays out 3 simple, positive rules, and they're surprisingly straightforward.
And here it is, the whole shebang, just 4 steps. First, you've got to write down exactly what you want, in order of importance. Second, you have to read that list 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. Third, just think about what you want, as often as you can. And number 4 is huge. Do not talk about your plan with anyone. The only one you talk to about it is that great power inside you. Now, knowing the rules is one thing, right? But actually making them work is a whole other ballgame. So the author gives some really crucial pointers for making this plan a success, and he focuses on 2 main things: getting super specific and dealing with that nagging enemy we all have, doubt.
Okay, this part is so important. The book is crystal clear on this. You can't just be fuzzy. I want more money. Nope, it has to be $5,000 by June 1st, 2026. Don't just wish for a home. You have to plan it out, the style, the street, the garden, the cost. You want a car? What kind? What color? What price? And when do you want it? The author is emphatic here. If you can't decide on these details, you're not really serious about it.
But what happens when that logical part of your brain kicks in and starts saying, this is all ridiculous? Well, the book has a really simple game plan for that. The moment those skeptical thoughts pop up, you grab your list and you read it. Right then and there, you talk to your inner self about what you want until those doubts just fade away. He also suggests hanging around people who already have the kinds of things you want. But, and this is key, you absolutely do not talk to them about your method. All right, so let's say the plan works. You get one of the things on your list. The book warns you that a new enemy is going to show up, discredit. Your own mind will try to rationalize it away. You'll start thinking, oh, that couldn't be it. It was probably just a coincidence, just a lucky break. The author says this is a really dangerous thought to have.
So the antidote to this discredit is simple, but it's really powerful. Whenever you're tempted to call it a coincidence, you have to consciously stop and give thanks. You give credit for the win to your omnipotent power. According to the book, when you do that, you're strengthening your own belief, your own faith, and that's what keeps the results coming.
Now, towards the end of the book, the author's tone shifts. He gets pretty serious because he wants to deliver a major caution. He really stresses that this power you're working with, it is not a toy. It has to be handled responsibly.
And here's the core of that warning. Yeah, you can have what you want, but you have to be willing to take everything that comes along with it. See, the power itself doesn't judge. It just delivers. And the author warns that it's totally possible to want and get things that will end up making you completely miserable or even hurt other people.
So with a warning like that, where should you even begin? Well, the author gives some very practical advice. Start small. He says your first list should just be familiar material things, a very specific amount of money, or a tangible goal at work. The whole idea is to get these smaller wins first. That's what builds your faith and proves to you that this whole thing actually works. Then, once you've got that belief, you can start aiming for the higher things in life.
And in the end, the author just leaves the decision right in your lap. He lays out the plan, he shares the proof from his own life, and then he just kind of steps back. You can reject it, you can accept it, you can stay exactly as you are, or you can have the things you want. As he says, plain and simple, the choice is yours.
And that brings us to the book's final parting thought. It's written in a letter from the author directly to the reader. He says, the best ideas in life are gifts, and he sees this idea as exactly that, a gift. So he asks a final, direct, and pretty provocative question that I'm just going to leave you with. The powerful idea which this book has given you, what are you going to do with it?